just started to record, believe it or not. I nearly forgot. So we are recording. Now, first of all, please remember that this is only general investment advice, not personal advice. So I hope everybody had a chance to read the disclaimer. Clearly stipulates it's only general investment. If you need any personal advice, you need to seek that from basically a full-time professional in financial services industry that has a full license to give you that personal advice. As I do not know your personal circumstance, I can't take that into consideration. So just general investment. Now, let's move on. We'll switch over to the chart section. Just one moment while I do that. And we're switched. Good. Okay, as usual, the first thing I'm going to do is start off basically with the Dow Jones, and then I'll go through the INX, which is the S&P, and gold, and we'll start on with the shares, and we'll go into the currency. Interesting times in the currency, of course. So the Aussie dollar, even though we're taking a little bit of a further fall, is it on a major support trend line, actually, right on it. So let's see where we go from there, if it's going to bounce or it's going to break it. Okay, let's start off as usual. We'll start off with the monthly to start off with. And look, as you can see, the monthly really hasn't changed much. Now, what we take note is that the beginning of this month, it started beneath the main trend line, and it still is beneath it. Now, as we can see, the red line that we got right across these tops, right? It's actually on support. Even though it's broken below it, it's still on support there. Now, the month is still fresh, so we'll see how we go in before the end of this month, and we'll see if it's going to break below that. If it does, then I really would start looking at further down prices, or if anything, it might just literally go sideways, as we'll see from the weekly chart. Let me just go to the weekly now. And exactly from here we are. It actually has broken below on the weekly. So this, at the moment, we can actually do a down target. We were looking at out of this whole pattern as a target, and we can see this retest, which is an ascending triangle. But what we'll do now is a target off this consolidation, which is these two purple lines. And again, getting the price target tool, go to the top of the line, go to the bottom of the previous touch, and go to the breaking point. And basically it's telling us the next support line is down here between 16,980, I think it is, to 17,100. And we're just smack in the middle of 17,048 of this line. So looking at this is what I'm going to be looking at. Obviously now this up target there, because we did an up and down, which we didn't know which way it's going to go, is now the top is invalid. Where are you? Okay, and the bottom one is valid for this pattern, but that's where the support is. So the Dow is definitely showing now down move. Now remember, tomorrow is Friday, and basically unless this reverses and closes back inside, okay, then all bets are off. However, if this closes below here, we've got a further move down by the end of the week, as long as it closes below by the end of this week. You'll have to pardon me, I've been recovering of the flu for almost 2 weeks now, and my voice is only just coming back. So I do apologize, but there's nothing I can do about that. Looking at the daily chart. Now, again, this is what we're looking at as an ascending triangle, and here's what we're looking at as parallel lines. And we can just take this a little bit lower to finesse it there. Okay, so touch right across. And we can do also, in addition, looking at it here during the week, we can see, and to clone, okay, and price target. Out of the bearish flag, telling us down to around 17,140 or so, and out of the actual pattern, as we did before, to the previous touch, to its breakdown point, and you can see that this is the 16.9 mark. Okay, so, but we really got to be looking at this support area here. So we really got two targets down. We got one out of the parallel, and we got one out of the bearish flag. So it's telling us this should go down further. Not personal advice, of course. So the Dow, we have to be looking further down moves. Let's have a look at the S&P 500. Now you would expect the S&P 500 should mirror what the Dow's doing, pretty close to it at least anyway. And again, on a monthly, you can see it's really right on the line. Look, it might have just broken below it. I can just zoom in a little bit. Okay, right on the line. So again, is this going to continue? We don't know. Let's have a closer look on the weekly. It should really resemble it, what we were looking at before. In this case here, the price is still inside this parallel line, so it has not broken yet. So this is not a real down trade unless it breaks below. We can't really see any more than that on this, so we need to go to the daily. And in the daily again, this is your parallel line from there to here. Not the cleanest. It's cleaner obviously on the weekly because of the tails, but primarily that's where it is. However, again, like the Dow, what we do have, oops, wrong one. Sorry, I'll move that down a sec. Excuse me. As we can see, it's really suggesting lower prices, but I really would like to clear this point here. So, price target down to 2005, 2016, but really this is its support point. And remember what the weekly looked like. There was support there also. Okay, so that's how you got to look at it. And we move on from there. That's the Dow, INX. Actually, we haven't looked at oil for a little while. Let's have a look at oil. BRT, I got it as part of the list, but we didn't do it a couple of times from memory. BRT. Oh, just haven't looked at it. I'm just getting the data now, so there we are. I'll just remove some of the previous targets. So we already met those. Now, interestingly, this is monthly. This is a pennant still, and it looks like it's broken below. And really, these targets are off this big triangle here. And this particular target off this pennant is really suggesting lower prices. You wouldn't have thought the bloody oil cartels will allow that, would you? And that brings it back to around 26. Look, like any flag or pennant, if it's going to fail, it usually fails around this level here, with previous lows, basically. All right, so trade cautiously. I mean, we just had higher oil prices, so at the Bowser, but this is saying that on the monthly, at least, it's saying that potentially this has got lower prices to go. Let's have a look at the weekly. Okay. Oops, wrong one. What's going on that one there? Just 1 second, what's going on here? Okay. Well, at least this should go down to around the 49 to 50 bucks, 49.97, 50.79 as the next level of support. And pretty close to probably this previous low. Here's around 52. So it really saying lower prices to come still, even on the weekly. Unfortunately, we can't do anything on the daily. As you can see, it's just on the daily, just dash dotted lines here. So I can't really go any lower than that, unfortunately. So anyway, that's oil. XAU, let's look at gold. And on the monthly, as we can see, it's still inside this whole section. It's pretty frustrating. Indecision, basically. It doesn't know which way it wants to go. Somebody just commented it. The week hasn't finished yet. I think was referring to the previous that we're looking at. By all means, how true that is. They've got another 2 days in the US to go. We got one. Basically, they're trading tonight. So really, again, in this consolidation, indecision, leave it alone until it makes a move. Nothing's changed as to our previous comments. On the weekly, it's all in this consolidation area, as you can see. There's really nothing much we can do again. Indecision, again, we just have to be very patient with this. And we go to the daily. And again, we are in this consolidation phase, and I'll just extend these lines. And really, there's nothing much there. All we can do is we're past this point. It didn't break yet, so we can remove those. Again, as you can see from this, there really is a lot of indecision again. Just patient on the gold. It requires extreme patience, actually. So let's have a look at the next one. Okay, from the stocks now. Excuse me. Geez, I've got a lot of banking requests again. These people must be holding a lot of banking stock, but I've got to go through the banking stocks again. ANZ. Let's go to monthly. As we can see, this is clearly a rising wedge. It is a monthly. It has broken out of it. So basically what it's really telling us, it really has broken, and we should really start looking sideways to down overall. Not to say it can't come and retest these previous past support lines, currently resistance lines. So not saying can't test it, surely can. But overall, I think the overall big push up is over. I think we discussed that last time. I was looking, you might get a chance to rally one more time and close those gaps, which I think I worked out. I'll come to that shortly. I think I worked out last time closing the gap is around about 34.60.70. We'll have a look shortly. As we can see, part of this formation originally was broadening, broke up to the top. It actually broke down. You can see retest. This is the main, the dash line is the main support area. You can see retesting. Again, not to say it cannot retest it even higher, within this support line, which brings it around to the close to the $34. So let's have a look. I think daily might give us a bit of closer look on this. And this is what we're looking at on the daily. Now look, this is what I was referring to. This is a gap between there and here, in this range here, which pretty much puts it around the 34.65 mark or so to 34.75 in that area there. I would think this will at least come up here to test this area, close that gap. Now, although it looks reasonably difficult when you see the rising wedge there, but if this price holds and goes sideways for a while, I would say this is what I would be looking at. I say if you see the price up there, again, this is from a technical perspective, don't know your personal circumstance. If I see the price anywhere near there, I get the hell out of there. I'll take my money and run. Okay? Not personal advice, but I'll take my money and run. Would I look to short it yet? No, I would not. I would get out and I would look for a short-term down. Example, a bearish flag or pennant or something like that, okay? Which based on a daily basis or intraday, if you're intraday, that tells you this is where it's heading, to position for that. Until such time it has a lower low, then on a weekly, let's say, then the overall confirmation's there, and then you can start looking at it on shorting on a grand scale. Unless you look at it on a shorter term, and then again, like I said, a flag or pennant on a daily or an intraday, then you can start positioning it that way. But that's the way I would be treating this. It has got potentially can go as high as that. Like I said, you get anywhere near there, I would personally be getting it the hell out of there. Again, not personal advice, but that's from a technical perspective. That's how I'd be looking at it. Now, looking at ANZ, you'd think NAB and Westpac and those would be reasonably similar, but let's have a look. Just want to point out also what I'm planning to do come probably I would think at the next webinar. I'm not saying 100% sure yet, but I would hope it'd be at the next webinar. I'm gonna, all these lines that I got on the charts that we're doing here, I want to transfer them to the latest version of the Phoenix, and I want to run the webinars using the latest version. That way, give them the opportunity to see how the new version works and operates. Okay. Now, this version of the software is going to be here for a while, but the fact is that the new version of the software is pretty good at this point. What's lacking is manuals and maybe a couple of small little things, but what it's got in addition to what this has got surpasses the few things that it doesn't have. I'll say that for it. What I also like about it, with a new one that's on as a preview at the moment on the website, anyone can download and it will not interfere with what you're currently using, but you can only log on with one at a time. What I really like about that also is that it's got what we call a Phoenician editor. Now, what that basically means is you can write your own indicators, okay? Literally. Or if you know in supercharts, or I think it might be Metastock, so I've got to confirm that. If you see any of those indicators that you like, you can actually take them, put them into the Phoenician editor, convert it, and it will run inside Phoenix. Okay, so you can write unlimited amount of indicators. Okay, you can literally whatever you. The only thing it's lacking in regards to the Phoenician editor is that once you write it, you can't scan for it yet. Okay, but what we're looking to do is hopefully it won't be a great length of time, there'll be a little bit of time, but what we're planning to do is obviously make sure whatever you develop, you'll be able to scan in detail. As a few example is that if you look at any of just simple moving averages you want to, with a current Phoenix to scan, we put the most common numbers and that's what we've done. All right, you can, with this one, you can pretty much write anything you like. And then once we finish this other little bits that we're doing, you'll be able to scan for it. Okay, so fantastic. Looks better. I reckon it looks much niftier. I'm quite impressed with it myself. So, but it does function slightly different. So it's important to get used to it. Okay, so there is a video up that I put up. You can actually have a look at that and utilize it, but I'll be starting to utilize it, I would hope, in the next fortnight on the next webinar. Anyway, let's go back. Monthly. We can see the main trend lines there. It's really everything's you can see on this accelerated trend line. Everything's sitting there. It's a little bit below it, but you can actually finesse this line and you can probably maybe even bring it above, slightly above. Let's have a look. Just there. Yeah, there it is there. If you put it there, you can see it's actually above. Now, for all we know, it could be making a bearish flag here. We just don't know. But on a monthly basis, this is really, look, sideways. Right, you can see it there. You really need to see clearly a breakthrough here. But let's zoom in on the weekly and see what it looks like. As we can see from the weekly, we can see here, the way we're looking at it is a broadening formation. Just want to check something here. That's hey, it looks a little bit better. Now, what we don't know is this a bullish flag. I honestly don't know yet. We have to wait and see what he does. It might be. It could be totally different, and something else transpire from it. However, let's have a look, watch it. This is a rising wedge, and we can see came in back inside it but back out of it. I would, let me have a look, maybe finesse it a little bit here and see how we go. And there. No, it still broke above it. There's nothing we can do to make it any different. In fact, actually, if you take it across there to the body, it actually is on it. You got touch on the body and there. In fact, you can probably go a little bit high if you have to, but all right, so it hasn't really broken the rising wedge if you use these 2 points. Obviously, if you take it to there, it looks like it has. So it's in that confusion because this 2 points here are so far away from here. That's the damn problem here. So, but at the moment, I would leave it there, and I would add a secondary, probably from here, but I'll make it dashed to show potentially it is different. And I wanted it dashed then. That's better. So potentially could be from these 2 points. We don't know yet. Someone asked me, how would you rate it? You know, if you want to put a rating of a line, you know. The truth is, this straight fixed line here, if I can lower that just a little bit, just to go to the body. See, if I go, the thing is, if I got to go to the body, I don't want to cut the body. So if I cut to the body, the dilemma that I had is it really does belong there, but it reversed up there, if you know what I'm saying. It was just to there. So if I had to rate that line there, I would probably only give it around a 70% rating, 65, 70%. If this bounces and this turns out to be a bullish flag and goes higher, then obviously this 1, 2 points would be so good, I would give that a 90% to 100%, 99% rating out of 100 as a solid line. If this actually goes back above that and that confirms, so it makes a higher high from here, back to around there, then I would definitely say I would give it a higher rating, okay, as a quality. Now, go back to the daily now. And what do we have? See, here we are on the daily. You see this, the purple line that goes across? Well, basically, that's a gap in there. Let me just clean that up a little bit. Okay, there's a gap. So we thought originally it might have been a flag here. As you can see, it wasn't. Died out. You can't really. That's not good. I think that's all we got at the moment. We really, maybe we can clone it actually. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, not the best. Not the best. No, we can't really even clone this. We really don't have much more than that. What we want to see is what it's going to do next. If it's going to actually break above or it's going to go back below. In fact, here, if we have a look at this point here, this originally had a bearish flag. You see, and it broke below and it failed. You know, at this point, like I said, it fails. It failed close to these points here. So it's a fail, again, bearish flag. I think you can see it's got a little consolidation here, but it's not really much to do anything with. Okay. So I think we're going to have to wait again with National Australia Bank. Again, it's got a gap there, so I would suspect that it would actually come and retest this area here before it does anything. Again, looking at where we are with rising wedges, if I see a price out here, I'll take my money and run. That's my honest opinion on that one. Again, not personal advice. I cannot stress that enough. WBC. Okay, monthly again. Pretty similar, aren't they? Bloody similar. Again, you can see the big trend from the bottom here on the monthly goes all the way, and that's where its real support line is. Now, the truth is we don't know with a rising wedge. This is an accelerated trend. The rising wedge on this is really down here. Okay, if you're going to look at it, that's where the rising wedge is. Not, this is just an accelerated trend. You know, it's interesting to be a small rising wedge, but that's where the main one is. Clearly, even if you don't use the line from down here, you started it from this point here, right across, we come to the same point. We had support. It is on support here. Definitely on support there. Go to the weekly. Again, it's got a gap in here. Is this going to be a bullish flag here? Again, this is on support, as you can see, all the way through the support. Is this a bullish flag? Well, if it's a bullish flag and it breaks up, as we can see, it started to break through and it failed. That's typically where flags fail, flags and pennants. Not say this is not going to continue, but we have to always take that into account. If it goes through, I'm saying we'll close this gap. But once it does that, I really don't want to be there. That's what I'm saying. Again, this is what we call a horn. This line here, with that line there, is what we call a horn. Now, horns again occur at tops. All right, they can occur at bottoms, but they're very, very rare. Now, this market's been going up, so you have to say these are at tops. So again, looking at the opportunity, not personal advice, I would take my money and run if that closes the gap. Let's have a look on the daily anyway. Okay. If that breaks through there, by the way, it would be an ascending triangle, okay, if it breaks. So let's do a target on the assumption that it might break, okay? First of all, there's two targets. One from here to the top to the breakout point. That's up to the 36 mark, closing this gap. There is another gap there. The next one goes from here, again to there, to the breakout point, and sure enough, closes this gap. Again, if you see that, and you see that really, and the probability say it's got a good chance of doing that, by the way, because if you look at the weekly, it always looked like a bullish flag also. I would, if I see that, I'd be closing my positions out. Again, not personal advice. That was Westpac. Next one we got is CBA. I need to cough at the moment, sorry. Mic off, I didn't want to cough in the mic. Okay, monthly. Interesting. You can see this is right on this trend line. You can see it broke below it, then went back. It's pretty much, if I zoom in, okay, it's really on the line. I mean, the line can technically come a little bit lower because I can just go down to here and take just there, okay? That's maybe a touch higher, just a touch. Okay, so you can see it's on the line at the moment. Consolidate it. Again, the monthly can't give me any more than that, other that's on major support. So we're going to have a look at a smaller time frame. And again, they seem to be looking the same, don't they? Eh? They really are starting to look the same. Clone. You can see, again, a flag. And again, even though you got it as high as that, that's very extreme because you've got a tail and a wick. So if you go to the body and to the wick and to the breakout, it's a lot lower, okay? Again, I would only trade it to the gap. Yes, it might rally and have and hit the target, but I would only trust it to the gap. And of course, when you go to here, the gap is really at, let's just draw it on the daily, open it all up. It closed one gap here, and we go to the second gap, is here, which is 90.56, the top end of the gap, and the bottom end of the gap is around 89.76. Personally, if that gap closes, again, I wouldn't want to stick around. That was CBA. Macquarie Bank. Tonight is really all about banks, isn't it? Oh, there is a few others that are not banks, but not a great deal of them. Well, it's certainly hit all our targets, hasn't it, on the top? So, good question. The monthly doesn't tell me any more than it hit its targets and it's just consolidating. Let's have a look. Actually, can I clone that to see if it's inside a channel? Yeah, it can be considered inside a channel. And it really is at the top end of the channel also. So let's have a look at the weekly. Again, what we do have is major consolidation here, folks. Look. I wonder if we can actually do this. I wish it didn't have such a big tail, however. Now, that's an ascending triangle. The truth here also is here, with the exception of one, if you go to the red tail, no, it really doesn't. Only these other two are. I'll just delete that. Being a weekly, it's got to really close below this on a weekly basis, and then you really do have an ascending triangle that's failed, which means it goes down to the downside. And if it goes down, I'll do two targets up and down. We'll do an up one first. And I'll do a down one. Okay, which way is it going to break? Let's go and look at the daily. Well, interestingly here, see, that closed there. So technically I can take it from the close and put it there on that close. So close, close, it went below and back above. And okay, That's typically your ascending triangle. It's not the cleanest, I have to say, but it's not too bad. Again, with these, I can repeat those targets. The short one, and which ways are going to break and close below or above. MQG. We got BOQ, Bank of Queensland. Yeah, these are bad banks. I haven't looked at that for a while, so I'm just getting the data now. Sorry, just one sec. Let's go look at monthly. Well, again, there's our price projections that we did last time, folks. And we can see it met this one. I can't remember. Oh, that's the extreme. That was the extreme target from tail to wick. That was the target. But as we said, you can't use extremes. If you got to use one or the other. So, example, if we use the tail, you go to the highest body, which is there, and you go to the breakout point, which is there, and you can see just a smidgen on it. If you go to the body and go to the wick, you can see you're right on it. Okay, so targets from our perspective has been met, the short one of course and the long one. This is an accelerated trend. The truth is right now, where is it? Okay, just move it out and try to reposition. It's actually, if you have a look, touch the body, it's pretty much really there. So let's clone this and see if it's in a channel or some form. We can't technically say that because we only, oh no, 1, 2 touches. So that's still classed as a channel. Let's have a look. Oh, sorry, I just had a message I just noticed there. We are with years. Someone's just asking in regards to the TS1, BOF and EWS dual hammer. Will I be showing the tools? I will be. Not tonight, I won't be. I will be, once we start on the latest version of the Phoenix, they're all on that also. I will start utilizing those as we go along. It's just that using those tools, it's really, when you're using the TS1, it is an intraday type tool. So this is not really an intraday where this is already has happened, unless you set up live trades. I am planning to do some, but I'm not there yet, because that can also be construed as live, and I don't have a full license. I only have a general investment advisor's license, and that could be construed that way. And I've got to have a look what I can do and what I can't do. This might be a bullish flag, but it's borderline, as you can see. I mean, that's probably 40%, and that probably is 60. It might even be more, just a touch more even. So it's borderline to a flag. Again, it hasn't broken. We don't know, so we can't make a comment. It is on major support. Go to weekly. Now, where we are, for all we know, this might be a bearish, excuse me, a bearish flag, totally in reverse area. So the weekly appears to, sorry, the monthly appears to, it might be a bullish flag. We don't know. The weekly shown, you know what, this could be a bearish flag. So which way is it going to break? Now, if you look at from the other banks, what we're seeing is potentially we might see a rally to the upside, okay? Closing those gaps is BOQ going to do anything? The truth is we don't know. It might go sideways, it might do nothing. We'll have to just wait and see. And on the weekly chart, this is the best we can do, is the touches. And just try and see if it's more of a broad information than anything else. Look, this is what we call a broad information. If it breaks to the downside, let's just put on it, if, I use the word if, then you've got a trade from here to the bottom to an estimated break. And you can see it's on the, right on the trend line. So not a bad trade if that turns out to go down on the downside like that. So one to watch. And again, on a daily, this is its triangle. Which way is it going to break? Again, we don't know, and all we can do is put targets up and target down. And target down. And you can only trade which way it goes, and that's the best you can do with this one here like that. Next one, BEN. It's Bendigo, isn't it? Let's have a look. Yeah, Bendigo and Adelaide Ordinary. Just getting data. Excuse me. You really, it's just that. See, you can't take it from there to draw a line because that's still heading down, all right? And this low here that it went at this point, was it lower lows, you can see making lower lows, and it's actually trying to step up if it is to a potentially go to a higher high. So it's in the crossroads at the moment, so you really just got to watch this point again, which way is it going to break. And again, you can do targets down and targets up at the same time. But that's basically, again, it. What else you got? There's nothing else there, is there? Let me just squash it up a little bit on the daily. Just one way. Just to have a look at something. Can't really do much. Yeah, not nice, that one. No, just got to wait and see, be a bit more patient on it. It's getting there. I think they're all lining up to do something. How long it's going to take, I have no idea, but they all seem to be lining up to do something here. We're actually breezing through this at the moment. Next one, SRF. Don't know what the heck that is. SRF. Oops, F. Just getting data, folks. Not a great, well, monthly I can't really do much. There's not enough data. Weekly, I don't know. Let's have a look. There really isn't any data, any decent amount of data to do anything. There's not much. There's not enough data. Let's have a look at daily. That's all its data, actually. is I'm cutting body, so I can only go to this low, to that low there. And it's pretty much where it is there. If I clone it, yeah, it looks like a channel, bottom of a channel. But it doesn't give me anything else. I'm sorry, I don't know what to make out of this full stop. If you go across the tops, which is your resistance, it broke through, now it's actually support. There really isn't anything else. I'm sorry, I don't know what. It was a surf stitch group. No idea what they are. Don't know what they do. Not enough data to analyze. Sorry about that. I hope that little bit is helpful, but that's all I've got. I got no other data. WPL. Well, that's certainly broken down on a monthly. Okay. As we can see, it's the weekly. The week is not over, however. Now, we can see if you take it as a rising, although it's not really the cleanest, because if you have a look also, I've got it rising and I've got it, it's been very messy here. We go right across also to previous lows. You can see it's still, you know, acceptable to put it as a parallel line. So I think if I was to look in trading this to the downside, I would really, really want it to close below this point. And then I'll start looking how far I can go down. But if its failing point would be here. Let's zoom into that on the daily. Yeah, I guess that's what we did have. Going right across there, that broke below. But it's consolidation. It really is one hell of a mess, I must say this. I'll say with this, if you're looking for a trade into this, unless you're trading options and you're a rider, I'd say you're wasting your time. Because this basically, if you're right, you're taking both sides of it. And I'd say this is where you'll be capping it between the two. If you wouldn't be taking a put or a call on this, you wouldn't even be trading it from that perspective. It's very, very messy. This, what I see is just consolidation for a long period of time. I'd say even down to these levels here. So even just from where it is at 33.53 down to here is what? 32, $1.40 or so. That's all the range. If you're going to trade it for that $1.40, you'd be looking on an intraday basis, not on a daily or a weekly, that's for sure. So there's not much in it. I can't really say much more. It's very messy. It's not something that unless people will have this if it's paying fantastic dividend, keeping it for a dividend in a super fund or something like that. NST. ST. Northern Star. Well, monthly. We can see we're still inside that consolidation phase, that little one here. Nothing has really changed from that perspective, and you can't really add anything else to it. On a weekly, we're still in that consolidation phase, aren't we? Not going very far, is it? In a very, very tight trading range. Looking pretty good from that perspective. It's not going anywhere, so it's pretty secure. Daily, again, that's that trading range. Once it breaks, if it breaks, up target, down target, still stands, no change. God, we're knocking them over so quickly. Next one, TLS. Again, on TLS, in consolidate, we hit that target that we had last time, how many months ago, and pretty much in the same consolidation phase, consistently. All right. Weekly, again, in fact, you really got to finesse this now a bit more. Oh, yeah. There. As you can see, I've just tried to touch there, and it's been cutting those. But again, this patience, I mean, it's been consolidating that damn spot now for how long? This is weekly. 22 weeks. Now, if that doesn't test your patience, I don't know what does. 22 weeks. Now, let's have a look at daily. Again. Okay. You can see on the daily, we broke up, but on the weekly, when we looked at the weekly, we can see that because it's got the reversal, didn't confirm, so daily and weekly would have broke at the same time, but it came back inside, and therefore the weekly holds its course. So it's the weekly, the one you have to look at now, not the daily. Go back to daily. What else is there? What it could be doing, it's as a pattern perspective, is that which way is it going to break? It attempted a number of times on the upside and failed, so could go down on the downside. But again, it'll be only short trade, nothing else. There really isn't much. It's really very frustrating, I have to say. Next one, Qantas. Oh, we had a request also. Qantas. Get the data. Come on. Go to monthly. We had a target on Qantas. We had two targets, a conservative and an extreme. It certainly came inside the conservative target. And could it be making a bullish flag at the moment? I don't know. Clone. Okay. Delete that now. That's irrelevant now. Yeah, not the best, is it? No, not very nice. Yeah, weekly's not giving me much at all, is it? And what we might have here, oops, funded that one up and do it again. If this breaks to the upside, then you've got an additional target, and it probably go to this extreme target that we looked at last. No, that was Telstra, wasn't extreme. $3.76 if that's a bullish flag. If it's a bullish flag. All right, so it's going to continue to go up, and then we'll see. Got one more stock I've been asked, AWE. Just getting the data. Oh, let's look at monthly first. Well, that's an ascending triangle. Oh, let's go to the weekly, I think. That would have given you a hard sort of back in and back out again. Wonder what the cause was. Oh, I'm not giving much away. Oh, Graph Explorer. Well, this is what the weekly looked like, cutting it like that. You can see a little bit of past history. You can see a bearish flag at that point, but you can even see potentially it had one here, but then reversed. We'll just go back to the weekly. Well, he made here a higher high than this. So here's your low, here's your bounce back, your lower high, but then here, because that went higher, it's a higher low, higher high. So technically, that actually belongs there. That's where it actually does belong. But I don't have much more than that. It's frustrating. Sorry about that. I really apologize. I can't see anything else in it. But no point trying to make things up. It's what's there is what's there. So can't do much more on that. Someone said I missed the XJO, and I apologise. I did miss the XJO altogether. Sorry about that. Must be I'm a bit lethargic today from this blasted flu. Now, what an interesting week, hasn't it? I mean, from last week, the All Ords up and down like a yo-yo, absolutely like a yo-yo. You know, absolutely like a yo-yo. Look, the accelerated trend, you see this line, that's the accelerated trend. The truth is, you can't just, we've put it roughly where we think it is, but because it's not crystal clear, and what I mean is, look, if you have a look, if I touch the low there, at the last low, look, it's all inside it. Now, you put it roughly where things can make sense, and if they start to turn around or bounce from that point to confirm that is the case, then you say, yep, that's where it belongs. Now, obviously it didn't from the last time. It went a bit lower, but you can see you can put it at that point and still makes the same sense, because the real trend is down here, and you've got right on the low 1, 2, you could say 3, 4 spots already, and you extend the line forward. So that's where the real trend is, okay? Now, this is the accelerated trend, and that's where it point of last point, resort, because you've got 1 point, 2 point, confirmed touching, and it's the body's inside it still. So that's confirmed, okay? Yes, this is still valid because that's where it is, and you need a 40-60 rule. At least you got 40% left on the pole. Okay, so that's still applicable. So that is still valid, potentially, if it is a bullish flag. Okay, so that's still valid. If it obviously fails and continues, that's where we expect support to be down to this level, and we'll just extend that a little bit. Okay, so we would expect that if it does break through, that's where it's going to go. Okay, so it is still inside all that at the moment. That's monthly. Weekly, and we can see there's this bearish flag, and if we did a down target off it, but remember where the support is, okay, and let's realign this line first, okay, to that low, and you can see that's where it belongs, okay, that's what we're looking at on the monthly. If we did, as I said, a down target of this flag, it would have been down to there, but remember the goal is to trade it to this support line anyway, okay, so that's where it is, it's in this support area. If this flag will fail, that's where it's going to fail. It looked pretty good coming down. You think you're going to hit the target. You came pretty close to it, but it's reversed back inside this support area, which basically validates this line. That's what it does. It actually is above it, validates it, because when you look, it actually opened here, went below it, it's actually above it. If this candle tomorrow closes above, it literally validated this line. Okay. Go to the daily. And we're still in this channel, aren't we? And again, there's nothing more you can add. You are in that channel and still inside that weekly trend. So basically the XJO stands pretty much what it is. You would have thought some of the stuff that I was watching during the week, you thought it's about to crap out and disintegrate. But then all of a sudden, so it's just a yo-yo, a total yo-yo ride up and down here. What this really is telling us, by the way, our market's fairly solid. And in saying that, I think even though it might break to the downside, I don't think it's going to be a huge down. And it might just consolidate for another move up a bit later on, unless something major gives way, say from China, from our perspective, because that's where our prospects lie, through China. So unless something really drastically gives way, we really should hold reasonably well. Any downside won't be dramatic. I think it'll just consolidate to those lower trend lines, and before it starts to get a second wind and back up she goes again. Would it go higher? I don't know. Would it go higher than before, even after a downturn? I don't know. I think we need a lot of more things changing before that happens. If anything, I would suspect if that happens, interest rates will start to go up. So we'll see how far that is away. I don't think somehow we'll see it this year. That does the XJO. Now I'll go and do the Australian dollar. How are we doing with time? Oh, still we're doing pretty good. Let's look at the Aussie dollar now. Monthly, excuse me. So if we just touch this bottom line here, the red one, it really physically touches the red one there, the current candle. Okay, so when I was looking at it, I thought, geez, is this going to really crap out and go? Then I said, but no, I don't think it's going to break this major support line. And sure enough, it held it nicely. I thought it might have consolidated a little bit higher, but it's really holding. And where it's holding is, if we do this trend line down and clone, this is what we get, is this line here. So as you can see, this is right on the intersection, and something tells me that it's going to consolidate here. Is there any reason why this should go down lower? If it does, mean something's terribly going wrong with the China market if it goes lower, because basically if that holds, there's no reason why that would break lower. There absolutely is no other reason for that to happen. Although now what we got, because it tested here and went below, what that basically means is that this is one hell of a brick wall on the upside. So it's going to be pretty hard to break it back above that, is what I'm saying. Unless it consolidates down here for quite a while, maybe you can get momentum to do it. But as you can see, the Aussie dollar has come off from $1.10 down now to well and truly under 75. But it is at a very strong consolidation point. The only way this would break below it in any major way, if something terribly goes wrong with the Chinese market. Therefore, it affects all our exports. Okay, and that means something goes wrong with the commodities, is what we're really saying. Now, let's go to the weekly. Okay, there's your weekly. Again, I don't have the major trend line on this one here. So if we clone, was it this one here? Oh God, I'm blank now. Let's have a look. I'll refinesse it a little bit. Oh, that's to go a bit higher. I mucked up this one. That's better. Delete that one again. I'll delete that. I'll remove this one too. That's where that is, as you can see. So that's an actual channel now, 2 points. Why? You got touch. I know you don't have it there, but you've got touch, 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 touch. Plenty of support on that channel. And that was the monthly one that you're looking at also. I wouldn't be game enough to try to do any major trades to the downside on this one unless it clearly breaks and it's an intraday trade. Go into the daily. What do we got? And I'll clone that. There's nothing there, that's for sure. Let's drop it down lower. We're going to intraday. What this tells us that's where it was. Hopefully that will get the support there and you might have a nice kick back up from here to there to its breakout and from here to there to its breakout. So this might start. Now I wouldn't just jump in it at the moment, obviously. I'd wait for something to confirm this up move. This is 60 minutes. Let's go to 180. Let's have a look. Oh, getting data. Let's say flag there. And again, if you go to the body, let's break out, or you go to the aggressive, this is even higher. So there really isn't much more than that at the moment. If you go, I'll drop down to 30 minutes, but I'm quite surprised on this. I thought we might have seen a bit more. The 30 looks pretty much like the 60. Okay. I would actually wait and see what it does from here. There's really is nothing more you can do. There's no, unless you drop it down to 10 minutes if something's forming on the 10 or 15 minute basis. But I can't see anything at the moment. No. There's nothing there. Other than where support is right now. See? If you take it to there, or I take it there, you're on support anyway. You're closest to support. No, there's nothing else. You can't really do much more on this. I'll go back to daily. Somebody just asked, can we look at VOC? Okay, I'll do VOC. We're down to the last 8 minutes at the moment, so let's have a look. VOC. This column's ordinary. Okay. Monthly. You're still inside the channel. All right. You're still inside the channel. Let's have a look on the weekly. You're definitely inside the channel here, in a smaller channel. And all it's saying is really you're probably more likely to come down to the lower areas of the channel here, in the low $5. There's nothing specific on this one here. There's no patterns that says going higher. Yet on the way up, you had flags, flags, flags. But here, consolidation then, it's really got nothing. You do have support, good support, all from here. Okay, so that's where that was and broke through. That's supported like a sandwich, and therefore your channel. So I'm betting you'll be coming down to around these areas here. From there, I don't know, but I can tell you that's where support is on it. There's nothing there to suggest that it's going to go higher at the moment, but there's also nothing there to suggest that it's going to go lower. Okay, that really is all of them. What can I say? We've sort of shot through it pretty quickly on these, only because maybe a lot of them were the same that we've done in the past and all the lines are there. As I pointed out, I'm looking to basically the next webinar to use the new software. So hopefully I'll have it fully set up by then, and with all the lines, everything that I've done here and all these instruments on that one. That way, anything that you ask, I can then utilize it and try to demonstrate how to use it, as we do not have all the manual or any manuals done yet. So we're going to start doing them very soon. There's probably a few more things I'd like to see added on the software, but most of it, 99% of it's there, as I said, and I think there's things that are new things that are on there that obviously this Phoenix does not have, which gives it a more thumbs up. I say to anyone, give it a try, utilize it. It's for free. It doesn't cost anything extra. It's the same username and password. It does not interfere with this one, okay? But I strongly recommend, if you are going to use it, you need to look at the video or the webinar that I ran a while ago. It's part of the same. If you go and look at the link to all the webinars you'll see it there. It's an explanation on the Phoenix, the new one, and the reason I want to start using this, the new software, doing these webinars, is then I can continually demonstrate it. So it's almost creating a manual. Okay, so I know it can be a little bit frustrating at the beginning, anything that you learn new, but I can tell you it's worth its way, really worth its while in gold. So give it a shot. You get a chance if you've got the patience to do it. But not to worry, this Phoenix will be running for a very long time. I hope I answered at least most people's questions. I will plan to do some TS1 stuff further down the track. Just that I don't have the license yet, and I really can't do it because of that. And I'll do more intraday stuff and so forth, and plan trades and so forth. So trying to even run it on an intraday basis, even during the day I might even run some. So that's what I am planning further down the track. I hope these webinars are helpful to all of you. If you've got any ideas or tips, what you want me to do, please don't hesitate. Just send them at webinars@phoenixai.com.au, and any of your suggestions will be greatly appreciated. In saying that, I'd like to thank everyone once more. Have a great evening, and the best of luck on all your trading. Thank you, and good evening.